It's the Ball Boys. We are back. The playoffs are here. So is Dave.
We are back. I'm Dave. He's Eddie. I'm Dave.
Nice to see you. All right, let's just get right into it, Dad.
Yeah.
Where do you want to start? You want to start Pacers Cavs?
Yeah, let's start
I
with
don't want to
that.
fuck around today. Let's fucking go. We got a lot to talk about. It's been
Yeah, I
too
know.
long.
Yeah.
Last time we
Uh,
talked, I think, was midway through the first round.
yeah.
So now we're in the second round. All right. So your Pacers.
Yeah.
Your
Hey,
Pacers.
my Pacers, hey, they're looking pretty good. I have to say, Halliburton, man, he just had a hell of a game last night. Mitchell was great for the Cavs, but and Mobley played good, but nobody else did. They had a horrible, shitty shooting night, and I don't know. I mean, they came back and went ahead briefly, but the Pacers really controlled that whole game. I felt, and it really was Halliburton and I mean Neesmith had like five threes or something crazy like that.
Nemhard went crazy in the fourth.
Marta Wood went crazy. I
It,
mean,
it, it was a really, really impressive win. Now, I think it should be mentioned no Darius Garland in that game,
right.
right? And, look, Cleveland hadn't played in a while. I don't overreact after game ones because a
Yeah.
series has a lot of different twists and turns. You know how it goes.
Yep.
And it's not over after one game.
But it sure was nice to see,
Having,
the
yes,
Pacers take it right to the team that led the East for practically the whole year.
the whole
So
year, start to
yeah, the whole
finish.
year. Yeah. So it's great to see them take game one, steal game one. That means it's going to be a hard fought series.
Yeah,
I,
and I think Cleveland obviously needs Garland back, but you're right. And like, look, coming into this, we both talked about it, man. Like they can hang with this team.
yeah.
They can really, really hang with this team.
They got the bigs that match up.
Well, not just that. I don't think it's a good matchup for Cleveland in terms of they don't have any real defensive matchup against Halliburton
No.
because I mean Garland is an average defender. I think Mitchell's a better defender he gets credit for, but none of those guys are what you would consider lockdown perimeter dudes. Like they don't
No.
have a Drew Holiday or a Josh Hart that they can sort of weaponize against a really good point guard.
Yeah.
And he's going to have his way with those guys because
Yeah.
I don't think DeAndre Hunter is quick enough to guard him either.
Oh,
That's a problem. And this Pacers team, man, like you've been on it. I'm not really a huge Pacers guy, but they're fucking relentless, man. Like
yes, they
they
are.
run like shit and they shoot a ton of threes. They move the ball. Like they can score points.
Yep. And they play defense.
Yeah, they do. I mean, Matherin's playing with a ton of confidence. You said Neesmith is playing with a ton of confidence. Nemhard hit some. He was on fire in the third
I know.
quarter, or sorry, in the fourth quarter. Miles Turner's a guy I've never been a huge Miles Turner guy, but to
Right.
be honest, like he kind of brings you exactly what you need in today's NBA. He's a really
Yes.
good defensive player who
Yep.
rebounds and he can hit threes. That's
Yep.
pretty much all he does. But he's solid down there. And then Pascal has just fit in so beautifully with this team. And he's actually, I think he's become so underrated, man. That guy
Yep.
is just an elite scorer on all three levels. You
Yeah,
watch
he
him
is.
play, and he's really worked. I give him so much credit. He's worked. We've watched Pascal closely for
Yeah,
years.
absolutely.
And he's worked so hard getting his jump shot to a point where it's respectable, his 3-point shot. And
Yeah.
then he's just got like the length and the footwork, and he's such a unique finisher inside. And then he's got this little sort of mid post face up game where he can knock down that 12-footer. Like
Yep.
he's a real problem to guard, man.
Yeah, he is. He
And
really is.
and he's unselfish. He plays
I
defense.
was going to say, like, not the only thing he can do is score. He can distribute really well. Like, he's a smart player. He can find guys based on his, they're going to have to double team him at some point. And when those double team comes, he's really good at spotting it and finding the open man. So,
Totally.
or at least finding the first guy, and then they swing it a second time for an open shot. So,
Well, yeah, you're right, and you're right. He's like a point forward. He can facilitate. He rebounds. I love that guy, and I mean, it was clear he was miscast as the number one guy in Toronto, but yeah, it was clear he was miscast as a number one guy in Toronto.
yeah,
But now in this role as a number two guy, he's just fit in perfectly, and it's a really nice marriage. I think he's playing great. The whole team's playing great, and they're a problem, man. They're going to give the Cavs some issues in this series. I
yeah.
think I'm still going Cleveland in seven.
It's so hard to predict, but yeah, I'd say Cleveland in seven, but we'll see, Eddie. I mean, it's going to be a fun series, man.
That was a big win for Indiana last night. They
Really
really
huge,
impressed me.
really huge. Speaking of huge wins,
The Golden
Golden
State Warriors.
State.
Yeah, the Buddy Hield game. I feel
I mean, I feel bad for Houston because to get beaten by Buddy Hield. Give me a
oh,
fucking
really?
break. The
Oh, see,
guy's
I'm the
a
opposite.
bum.
I feel vindication.
Oh, he's
Feel
a
vindication.
bum.
I've had stock in Buddy Hield since before
Oh,
I
please.
could walk. I feel
He's
like.
bounced around more than a trampoline. I mean, come on.
Are you seriously doing this right now? We love Buddy Hield. What are you doing to
I
me?
hate Buddy Hield.
Oh,
I've
come
hated Buddy Hield
on.
everywhere he goes. I hated him
Oh,
on Milwaukee. I just hate the
he
guy.
wasn't on Milwaukee.
Yes, he was.
He was on New Orleans and Sacramento and
Yeah, he was on
Indiana.
Milwaukee.
Was he? I don't think he
Yeah,
was.
yeah, he
I mean,
was.
honestly, who knows? That's kind of the point of Buddy Hield's career. But come on, how can you hate Buddy Hield? I love Buddy. Hey, look, he was awesome last night. He was great, and it was interesting to watch because Steph was. They were just draping him with guys like it was
Oh, I
Freddie
know.
and then
They
Thompson,
had three guys on him, three, four
yeah,
guys. I mean,
and he said, "All right, if you're going to do this shit, then I'm just going to pass the ball and trust my teammates."
yeah,
And that's what happened. And Buddy Hield went off, and the Warriors lived to fight another day.
yeah.
I'll say this about the Houston Rockets. I thought that was a really good series. It was just a classic, like young team that's not quite ready yet, and
Yep.
they just didn't have the scoring.
They remind me of the Pacers a couple of years ago that they were
Everybody
really
reminds you of the
talented.
Pacers.
No, but they were really good, but they didn't know how to win, and so it's important that they go through that series because they need to learn how to come back against a team like Golden State, or they need to learn from that losing that series and be stronger the next time in the playoffs. So I
I,
think they will.
I think it's a team that is ripe to make a trade this summer because, like I said, and this was their Achilles heel all year.
Giannis,
Yeah, duh. Or KD,
right?
because like they have a ton of assets and a ton of picks and they have a roster of really good young talent, but they don't have a closer. Like
You
that's
know what? I don't think Giannis is a good fit for them, but I think KD would be perfect.
right. Because you can say, like, we'll get you to the 42-minute mark and then we'll just give you the ball for the last six. Like,
Yeah,
because seriously, like, I mean, I think Jalen Green is a really talented player, but he's just too inconsistent to be that guy. I mean,
yeah,
he was
yeah,
awful in this series,
yeah. He
and
was.
I think he's getting traded. And Şengün like is a nice player, but like if that's what your go-to like offensive thing is, like him in the post, you're just not going to win like that.
No.
And I think the move is you package those two guys with some picks and you go after like a real scorer or like a Devin Booker,
Yep.
and then you still have Amen Thompson and Eason,
Yep.
and
Guys are playing great,
Jabari,
man. Yeah.
and you still got Freddie and Dylan Brooks, and then
I was
you
gonna
bring
say
in.
Freddie had a great series,
I,
man.
I was gonna say that. Hold that thought for a second. But yeah, I think Jalen Green has played his last game as a Houston Rocket.
You may
He
be
was
right.
terrible, and
Yeah, he
like
was.
it reminded me a little of, like remember? I mean, like we've talked about it. Terrence Ross,
Yeah.
like where he was so gifted, and he'd have these nights where he'd go for 30, and it was like, holy shit! Like Terrence Ross was the best player on the court tonight, and
Yeah.
then he'd be invisible for the next week. And it's just
Yep.
that's just kind of who Jalen Green is right now. And I'm
Yeah, I
not
know.
saying he's going to be that for the rest of his career, but sometimes it's just like
Yeah.
he's a really talented player.
Really
But
gifted player, but he's inconsistent.
yeah, and okay, yeah, give me your Freddie thoughts because I agree. I thought he was
I
awesome.
thought he was awesome. Like it reminded me of 2019, man. Like he turned the clock back and he was distributing. He was attacking the basket. He was playing defense. He initiated fast breaks and he was hitting his shots. Like
Yeah,
it was just he was fantastic.
we always talk about the bad Freddie. And you're absolutely right. We have to give him the good as well because the good Freddie is, I was thinking about this watch and you're right. He was brilliant, particularly in games 5 and 6. I mean, he was
Yep.
on fire. And, in game 7, he didn't really have it. But to be honest, like if you're
Nobody
expecting
had
him
it
to
on the
go
team.
off like 3 games in a row like that,
Yeah.
like he saved their ass in games 5 and 6 and he just
Yep.
didn't have it. He couldn't save them in game 7. Like if you're expecting him to do that 3 games, excuse
Every
me,
night.
like it's a lot to ask,
Yeah,
it's too
it
much of
is.
a burden, but
Yeah.
he fucking did everything he could, man. And I was thinking about it. You know who he reminds me of? I finally found the comp. Derek Fisher, because
Yeah.
Derek Fisher was, the stats, you look back at his career, the stats don't really jump off the page at you.
Hmm.
He was a streaky shooter. And when
Yep.
he was bad, he was really bad.
Yep.
Like he shot them out of games on some nights. Undersized, but a really smart and pesky and like tough defender.
Yep.
but he just kind of has a knack for like hitting and taking big shots, man. I
Yeah,
mean, sometimes guys just have it. He's not afraid to have the ball in his hands in big moments,
I
and I
love
commend
space,
him
by the
for
way.
that. I commend him for that. He's got some fucking balls.
Yep, and you know what? Derek Fisher was one of my all-time favorite players. Like
I
I
know he
love that
was.
dude, and yeah, for all those reasons that you just said, and yeah, Freddie's got those qualities.
He's a
So
leader and he's a big shot taker,
yeah,
And not every guy in the league when it's a game seven, there's a lot of dudes that get hot
I mean, I
potato
remember some of Fisher's. Fisher hit a game-winning shot against the Spurs, I do believe.
with zero point 0.4 seconds left. But he hit a million big shots. I mean,
Yeah, oh yeah.
the one that sticks out to me, honestly, and you're probably not going to remember this, is in '09, the finals against Orlando,
Hmm.
when the Lakers were up 2-1 and Orlando was outplaying them in game four, and they had a 5-point lead with like 40 seconds left. And the Lakers got a dunk, a stop, and then Fisher tied it with a three. And they went to overtime and won, and then won. But it was like a great in transition pull up three.
Right.
He had a million of those shots, man. He
Yeah.
had some big shots in '01 against Philly, against Sacramento,
Yep.
like he was a warrior, man. And Fred Van Fleet's a fucking warrior. Like,
Yep.
again, you look at the percentages throughout the season and it's like, oof, he's not a great 3-point. He's not as good a 3-point shooter as you think he is. He's
Hmm.
pretty terrible at shooting everywhere else on the court. Turns the ball over. But
Yeah.
there's something unquantifiable about a guy that like is not afraid of big moments and is universally loved by everybody in the locker room and
Yeah.
respected.
Yeah.
And like he brings things to the table that can't be analyzed on
He was
basketball
undrafted,
reference.
Eddie. He was
I
undrafted.
know.
I
I know he
mean,
was.
that says a lot about the guy. To be as successful as Freddie has been, and being undrafted in his career. I mean, that he's a fighter. That shows he's a fighter, and he always has been, and he always will be. He's a bulldog, man. I
One
love
of my
him.
favorite Raptors. I would say I'm harder on Fred Van Fleet than a lot of players in the
Hmm.
league, and we both have been on this podcast, but it's out of pure love because I
Yep.
love Fred Van Fleet, and they
Me
would
too.
not have won that title if it was not for him in 2019.
Yep.
But moving on, I want to talk about this Warriors thing because
Yep.
look, it's clearly a lot of pride in that locker room. I mean, but I don't think it's a good matchup against Minnesota.
Nope.
I think they're screwed in this series. The T Wolves are just like they're so
They don't
big.
have anybody who can guard Edwards.
Well, it's not just that. Like the T Wolves have size, they have
Yep.
versatility. They can go small, they can go big. They're
Yep.
deep. And then the Edwards piece, like you just mentioned, I mean, he's like I mean, I think last year showed that okay, he's arrived as a superstar, but this
Hmm.
year he's taken that next half step. And I mean, the shit he's doing on the court right now, it's Kobe and MJ
I was gonna
esque.
say it's Kobe.
And MJ. It's both though. He's like the
Yeah.
third evolution. It's like MJ and then Kobe and then like Ant's like the next evolution of that. I mean,
Yeah.
you put it against tapes against. I mean, because like, look, whenever you're comparing a guy, like Kobe was a carbon copy of MJ.
Yeah.
That right. So when you compare a guy to Kobe, you're also
You're
comparing
comparing him to Michael.
right.
Yeah.
But you can put those three guys like there are certain moves and like just the fluidity and the footwork and the way he gets into a shot, like it is
And the
Kobe
power,
esque.
Eddie, the power.
Right. The athleticism at the shooting guard's position. I mean, he's special. But it's interesting because, like, personality wise, he's not like those guys at all. Because Kobe and Michael were both like kind of stoic, introverted,
Yeah.
like assholes.
Yeah.
But he's got the like more like Magic or Shaq or Barkley,
Oh,
right?
yeah, Shaq, very much like Shaq
I think
and
he's like
Magic.
Magic.
Yeah,
Like,
and Magic
yeah,
because
Magic was
they
always smiling, always joking,
yeah.
always, like
Oh,
you
he's
look him up.
always joking around. He's always enjoying his talent and enjoying his scoring or whatever. Whereas what he's in the moment, he's having fun, and yeah, you're right. But he's a killer. Like it's a weird combination.
Like I said, like on the court, he's got a Kobe mentality, but off the court, like I said, he reminds me of Magic. Like he's got that smile,
Yeah,
that just lights up a room, and he's just like you put him in front of a camera, you just wind him up and let him go, man. You never
yeah,
know what you're gonna get, and it's like Barkley. Barkley had that.
yeah.
There's been guys like that where it's just like this guy's just awesome. I fucking love this guy.
Yeah, yeah, I love him. I think he's great. Yeah, in terms of the matchup, yeah, Golden State's done. I mean, kudos for them for surviving the Houston series. I thought they did a good job on that. I frankly, I picked Houston to win that,
I did too,
but
but I wasn't surprised.
but I don't think they have it in the tank to beat a talented Minnesota team. And Minnesota, like you said, they have height. They play defense. They got a lot of wings that can guard anybody.
And they got a closer.
And they got a closer, and that's I think the difference in the series. I think Edwards is going to be the difference.
Well, I just think that like it's just the Warriors have three guys, man. And
Yeah,
I will say this, like I've been really impressed. Like, look, it's a prideful locker room, so they're not just gonna roll over and die like
no,
another team that we're gonna talk about here just in a second. Um,
uh,
yeah, I think you know where I'm going with that. Fuck, that was
yeah,
weird. Anyway, let's hold that for a second. But Steph is he's still dangerous, man. Even at 37. And I gotta
yep.
say, I've been so impressed with how Draymond Green has played this season. I mean, that guy is no, I'm not. No, I'm sorry. Like you watch him play.
I'm not a big Draymond
Well, I
fan.
don't care because guess what? He is a genius on the defensive end. I mean, you
Yeah,
watch
he
some of
is.
the stuff that guy does. He's one of the greatest defensive players I've ever seen. I mean, he's banging inside. He's a 6'9" forward. He's banging inside with Şengün and Steven Adams all series. But then
Yeah,
he's still able to switch out onto guards like Jalen Green and lock you down on the perimeter. He
yep.
blows up pick and rolls. I mean, he blows up cutting actions. The shit that he's doing back there,
He gets
man, is like
steals.
level shit. It's like Marcus Gasol was a little bit of that for Toronto, but when
Yeah,
you see a guy do it at that level, and like he's been doing it, like I mean, he was the anchor of all those. He was the Ben
yep.
Wallace of all those,
Yeah,
championship
championship teams.
teams,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
like and then offensively, he's just so unselfish, and like he's really their point guard.
Yeah,
Steph's not the point guard. It's all running through Draymond, and it's all just Steph running through actions to get him open shots. And
yeah.
I just think Draymond's just a really unique player. And some of the off the court shit, obviously, I think I've had
That's the thing. That's the thing. I don't. That's the like
well, okay, I get it, but
everything you say about Draymond. I agree with, but it's the off court shit that I
okay,
can't
fair enough.
stand.
He lost his mind for a bit, but you know what? Like, he's actually a really intelligent and thoughtful guy. He just
Yeah,
kind of talks too much sometimes, And
yeah.
like, look, I'm not gonna say I've always been a huge Draymond guy. I would say I have a very complicated basketball fan relationship with Draymond Green
Mhm. I do
because
too.
early on, like he really was like I loved Draymond when those teams were first on the rise because like it was
Yep.
like holy shit, this guy is just a weapon on
Yeah.
defense. And he's so unselfish, and he's such a unique passer at his size, right? And like, I think Al Horford brings a
And that's a
little.
credit to the coach. Steve Kerr, I think, is one of
Yes,
the top coaches I've ever seen. Like strategic and easy for me to say. Strategically, he's a genius, and he relates to his players really really well.
I
So
agree.
so I think it's a lot of it. A lot of what made Draymond successful is Steve's input.
You're right. That's a good point. But yeah, I think I like look, I think I'll take the Warriors to win too. I think there's a lot of it's a
Yep.
championship locker room and Steve, Steph, Draymond, those guys just aren't going to roll over.
No,
But it's a
I'll give him two. You're right.
it's a tough matchup. I think the T-Wolves are legit. And I think they might make the final. Like I think they would have a legitimate shot at beating OKC.
It's well, I don't know about that, but
I think they can hang
but definitely I think they're going to advance to the Western
conference
Conference
finals.
for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, give me five give me a minute and a half on the Lakers.
Oh, hey man. I mean, it's really disappointing, but they're a flawed team, and the flaw is they don't have a center. That's it. That's basically what it came down to. LeBron's getting older. The Luka trade was not meant for this year. It was meant for as a transitional period for the next 10 years for the Lakers to surround the Lakers and Luka with talent, and they're going to start doing that. I wouldn't be surprised if they nab Giannis. I've heard rumors about him going to the Lakers. I don't think that's going to happen, but hey, but
You're
listen,
such a pie in the sky guy with Giannis. He's like
I know. But listen,
like,
I think
it's a team.
I think Giannis is going to go to Toronto. But back to the Lakers. No, they're a flawed team, and they got too many mediocre guys. I love Austin, and I think he's fantastic. Rui sometimes he's inconsistent, but I like him. He's okay.
Rui is what he is, man.
Yeah, but really,
He's a
it's
fifth or
LeBron
sixth man.
and it's LeBron and Luca who run the show. And I thought Luca, he's still a little bit of out of shape, but he was way better in shape when he was playing on the Lakers than he was in Dallas.
Well, he still looked banged up to me because of the calf thing. But
Yeah,
like look, I'll say this. All those things are true that it was pretty clear that this team didn't have the depth, especially up front, to make a title run.
Yep.
Even though I think I picked them to make the finals. But the weird thing was how they just kind of gave up. And it
Yeah.
became this, especially in game four, and then like especially in game five. It was just weird
Mm.
to see. It became just kind of, well, we don't have a center, so what can we do? And it's like, I get it. Personnel wise, it was a terrible matchup.
Hmm.
And, but, and I mean, at some point, somebody just, like, you can't just let Rudy Gobert go out there like fucking prime Wilt and
Yeah.
just get uncontested offensive rebound and dunk after offensive rebound and dunk. I mean, it was just
And
like,
he hit a three or something, didn't he?
well, but I'm,
I mean,
I'm
like,
talking more about the rebounding thing, Dad. Like, guys were just standing and watching.
oh, I
At
know, I
some
know.
point, it's like it became sort of this excuse that kind of like melted into their brains, and it was like, you know what? Fuck all that shit. Somebody just go grab a fucking rebound. It's an
Yeah,
elimination
really.
game. Like,
I
have
know.
some pride. Like,
Yeah.
it's not like LeBron, Luca, Rui, Vanderbilt. Like, these guys are 6'10", 280. Like, they're not small guys. They're beasts.
No. Yeah.
Somebody go fucking grab a rebound. Your season's on the line here. It was just
Yep.
strange.
Yeah. There was no fight. No fight.
And
Yeah.
then, well, and then just
I don't know.
on that quickly, I blame JJ too because
Yeah.
I mean, as a coaching staff, and they were so gung ho and stubborn about
Well,
staying
also
small.
he burned them out, man. Like he
Well,
played them the whole game.
he was just like, I'm going small. This is what we're doing. This is how we have to do it. And
Yeah.
look, I understand that your center options are Jackson Hayes and Alex Len.
Yeah.
So I get that. But at the same time, I mean, both things can't be true. You can't be watching as a coaching staff going, clearly seeing that nobody is putting any fight to even put a body on people,
Right.
and your season's slipping away. Like,
Yeah.
at some point, you have to budge and be like, well, fuck, this isn't working. Like, throw
Right.
Alex Len out there for 2 minutes, for fuck's
Yeah.
sake. See what happens at least. At least he's a big body. But you
Yep.
can't just sit there and let it happen, right?
I know
Like,
that
I
was it
mean,
was
like,
ridiculous.
like the theory of going small only works if the guys are scrambling and hustling and like
Yeah.
gang rebounding. If they're
Yeah. There
not
was.
trying to rebound, then it's not, you got to fucking make an adjustment. So I
Yeah.
just, the whole thing was just really collectively strange.
Yeah.
It was embarrassing.
Yeah. Coaching staff, players, everybody. It's
Anyway,
yeah.
that's
I
my
don't know,
Lakers.
man. Well, I think they're going to obviously try and find a big man in the offseason, obviously. So we'll see what happens. I think LeBron's going to come back for another year just to see if he and Luca can do it. I think they're going to try and get some better talent around them.
Unfortunately, Dad, you know what the move is? I think they got to trade Austin Reeves
I
because
think that's the rumors that I've heard is, yeah, Austin Reeves.
right, and it's just because, and the other piece, number one, they need a center, and he's really their only like card to play in terms of a trade chip.
Yep.
And the other thing is like having Luca, LeBron, and Austin out there. It's just three guys that can get hunted, and it's just like defensively. Remember the Dallas team with Kyrie? That
Yeah.
worked because yes, Kyrie and Luca were bad defensively, but at least like Kyrie's actually a really smart defender, and they had three elite guys around those guys that were
Hmm.
able to cover up some of the holes. It was PJ
Hmm.
Washington, Derek Jones, and then the Gafford Lively combo,
Hmm.
right? But the Lakers, when you have two offensive deficiencies, like Cleveland, same thing.
Hmm.
Sorry, defensive deficiencies. Cleveland, right? We talked about it earlier with Garland
Yeah.
and Mitchell. They
Yeah.
have Mobley, Jared Allen, and DeAndre Hunter out there to cover up all those mistakes.
Right. Exactly.
Two bad defenders you can get away with, but when you have three bad defenders, it's
Yeah.
too much, and you can't
Yep.
and like as much as Austin, Luca, and LeBron are dynamic offensively, they just in a playoff situation, you can't play those three guys at the same time because other
No.
teams are just going to tear them
No.
apart.
And so what they'll probably do is that, yeah, you're right. They're going to probably trade Reeves to get a big man,
Yeah.
and they'll make Luca the de facto point guard.
Well, he is a point guard, but yeah. Anyway, tough end for the Lakers, but whatever. You're right. That trade was never about this season. It was
No.
about the next 10, but still a
Yeah.
shitty way to end the year. I thought that was an
Yeah,
embarrassing
it
loss.
was. It was a shitty way to end the year. I wasn't happy.
No. Okay, let's Boston, New York, and then we're gonna finish up with the Denver Nuggets OKC discussion. I don't think that this series, like, I thought the Knicks were a way better team than Detroit, and that series
Yep.
shouldn't have gone six. And it was just one of those, like, it reminded me a little of, there was a year when the Raptors were the number one seed. It was the last Kyle DeMar year. It
Hmm.
was the year before Dwayne. Remember the year when LeBron and the Cavs swept us,
Hmm.
and Dwayne Casey. Remember that play at the end of Game 3, and then Masai came in and reamed out Dwayne Casey in the locker room and said,
Hmm.
"How can you fucking let LeBron go 94 feet?" Remember, it was Casey's last stand. Remember that whole
Yeah,
season?
yeah.
But in that first round series, they played a shitty Washington team that was an 8 seed with John Wall and Bradley Beal. That was
Mhm.
not a very good team, but just gave them like it should have been a sweep. The Raps were way better, but they just kind of let Washington hang around in that series, and they ended up winning in six. But it was like a hard fought 6 game series. And I just coming
Mhm.
out of it, we were just like, even though they were the number one seed, it was just like that. I did not love that series performance. Like that bothered me that they let Washington hang around like that. That's how I feel about the Knicks. They should have fucking pounded that Detroit team. And
Yep.
I give Detroit a lot of credit for hanging in that series the way they did. But I
Mhm.
don't know. It bothers me. I think the Knicks are way too heliocentric, and I think they're going to get schooled by Boston.
I think you're right, but I'll say one thing. Like, it was a really hard fought series. You're right. The Knicks should have swept them, man. But Detroit, I got to give my kudos to Detroit. They're a really go after it team. I love
Totally.
Cade. I mean, he's fantastic. I love Duran. I think he was playing great. Like they're beautifully coached.
Wait, hold on. Was that
Oh wait, no, wait. I'll take that back.
Come on. No, hey, look, have you done a 180 on me on JB Bickerstaff?
No, no, I'll take that back. I don't know what I was saying, but no, but I love that team. They got some
Yeah.
really good players,
Listen, I love that
and they
team
gave the
too.
Knicks headaches all the time. Like,
I get it,
man,
but like I love that team too. But three of their five starters, I'll name them: Tobias Harris, Malik Beasley, and Tim Hardaway Jr. Like those guys are all in the Buddy Hield camp. Like they're
I
just fucking
know
journeymen. Like
journeyman.
the Knicks are a way better team. Like look at
Yep.
their starting five. I mean, I'm sorry, the
Yeah.
Pistons should not have been hanging in that series, but they did because they're
Yeah.
tough. And Cade's a superstar, a budding superstar.
Yeah.
And I think the Knicks have a lot of issues.
The Knicks have a lot of issues, but it's going to be an interesting series. I mean, they do have Cat, who can handle Porzingis, and they have OG who can probably match up with
Oh,
either
please. I'm sorry. I
with
think,
either
look,
you
I
know
know where you're going with this. And like, yeah, OG's a great defensive player, but I think Jason Tatum has reached a point right now where like it does not matter who is in front of that guy. Like,
yeah,
he's a
he
beast.
could, but OG could guard Brown.
Who cares? Like, I mean, like, honestly, like Jason Tatum he's a fucking beast.
Yeah, he is.
I mean, that guy, he's looks so comfortable. You can just
Yep.
see it sometimes with a superstar when it's just like we were talking about it with Edwards earlier, where it's like last year he arrived and this year it's just he's just so comfortable in his skin. And Tatum out
Yep.
there is in complete control of his game right now.
Tatum reminds me of Jason Tatum reminds me of Tim Duncan, a young Tim Duncan, in that calmness that he has
Hmm.
on the court, and he everything the game slows down for him, and he just knows where to go, what to do with the ball. He sees the court before anybody else does. He reminds me of a young Tim Duncan, not just just in the way he plays.
The way he carries himself. Yeah, I see that. I mean, you're right.
Mhm.
And I just and then I think it's a really good matchup for Boston in terms of like they're built to guard Jalen Brunson. Like you can throw
Yeah.
White at him, you can throw Holiday at him. You
Oh
know,
God, yeah.
I mean, like it's just it's
White's going to be all over him.
they're relentless on defense. And Brunson will still get his 40, but they're going to make him work.
Yeah,
And but look, I just don't think the Knicks are a diversified enough offense. I mean, Jalen Brunson took 33 shots in Game 6.
I know.
33 shots, Dad.
Hey, I love the
Like
dude. I love that
I know,
dude.
but he also took like 15 free throws. I mean, like the ball's in his hands so much, and like
Yeah.
Boston is too good defensively to like if you can only do one thing, like they're gonna fucking like they're just gonna they're gonna eat you for breakfast,
Who's
man.
the wing on the Knicks?
Mikal Bridges.
Yeah, Bridges. I think he's going to be the key to the series actually, because
But
I think
they don't
they're going to throw two guys or three guys
doesn't
at
matter
Brunson.
though. Like they don't give him
But I
the
think
ball.
Bridges could make the difference if he hits his shots or goes to the basket. Hey, he could keep him in games.
I'm going Celtics in 5. I am I'm going Celtics in
Are
5.
you?
Yeah.
I'm going to say. Well, hey, the Knicks are my second favorite team.
No, they're not.
Um, yeah, they are. Yes, they
They're
are.
your third favorite
Lakers,
team.
Knicks.
Oh, please. That
Yeah.
is ridiculous. That is
No.
complete horseshit.
All right, all right. I'll put the Knicks third. I'll put the
Yeah,
Knicks.
duh.
Yeah. Okay.
You've been to like 700 Raptors games in your life.
All right. Maybe
You
seven
cried
thousand.
when the
Seven
Raptors won a
thousand. Are you
championship.
kidding?
You cried when the
Yes.
Raptors
Okay.
won a
So
championship. You
yeah.
cried in
All
my
right.
arms.
All right. All
You,
right. So
like, give me a
you're
break.
right. All right. So Lakers, Raps, Knicks. Anyways,
Thank you.
I like the Knicks. I love the Knicks. So I'm going to pick them in. They lose in six.
I mean, does one extra game matter really? Like, I mean, but okay, look, like, if you think they can hang, I don't, look, the Knicks have talent, they really do, but I just think the Celtics are a buzzsaw, man. They're gonna fucking like, they're not gonna play with their food in this series. I think they're gonna lock. They kind of played with their food a little bit with Orlando, but
Hey, I was going to say, like, all those Orlando games were really tight, all the way through, except maybe the last 5 minutes or whatever.
yeah, because
But
the Celtics were screwing around. They didn't have Holiday. Tatum missed two of those games. Come on,
yeah,
like,
but no, but I mean, but Orlando played them tough, and the Knicks are a way better team than Orlando. So you're going to see a scrappier team
are
from
they a
Orlando.
way better team than Orlando?
I think so. Yeah.
We'll
Yep.
see. All right, let's go to OKC and Denver, and then we'll wrap up. We got it. We got to. I don't think there's a ton to say in this series, but again, they're playing game one tonight, just like the Knicks. So we'll see.
Yep.
But I think Denver was lucky to get out of that Clippers series.
Yep. They sure were.
I'm intrigued to see how OKC plays against a real opponent.
Hmm.
But I mean, Denver's got six guys, man, and one of them is Russell Westbrook, who's giveth and taketh away every night, like
Yep.
possession to possession. So
Yep.
they they got six guys, and one of them's just a complete wild card. I just don't think that's enough against this OKC team. As good as Jokic is, and Jamal, I mean, he was brilliant in that game seven. Actually, I thought he had a great series.
Yeah, he did.
And like, look, they got championship pedigree
The
and
guys,
DNA.
the guys that surprised me were Aaron Gordon,
That
and
surprised you? Why did that
yeah.
surprise you?
Well, I don't know. I thought. I mean, Gordon's okay. He's solid, but
That he's shown that he can do it. Like
he was
he was.
more than solid.
I know, but like you're forgetting, like when they that title run, like he was their third best player. He was so important for that team. His
Well,
defense,
he's definitely the third best player for
yeah, he
sure.
is. I think he's really. I love Aaron Gordon. I love what he's become because he was
Yeah.
similar to Pascal,
Well, you know
miscast.
what I loved about him? He was guarding Kawhi.
Oh yeah, he plays defense. He rebounds. He cuts. He does
Yeah.
all the little things you need around two offensive players like Jokic and Murray. And I
Yeah.
give him so much credit, that guy, because he was miscast as a number one role in Orlando,
Mm.
and then gets traded to Denver and accepts this new role. It's like, you know what? I'm only gonna get maybe 10 shots a night, and nothing's gonna run through me. It'll mostly be dunks and putbacks. But if I accept that and play really great defense, like I could be the third best player on a championship team. And
Yeah.
he's done a great job at that. And
Yeah.
I thought he was awesome in that
Yeah. He
series.
was.
That putback dunk to win, like that changed the whole series.
Yeah.
At the end of
At the buzzer.
game four
Yeah.
to tie the series.
Yeah. That
You
was
know,
brilliant.
that was insane. I've never seen that before.
I know. It
It was so
crazy.
close.
I
It
know. It
was
was so close.
yeah.
But no, that was so exciting. And then they shit the bed in game five. Like
Well, I know, but like they just don't. That's my point. And like the Clippers, I thought the Clippers were a better team for most of that series,
they
but
were.
just found a way to fuck it up in the last couple of minutes
Clippers should have
every night.
won the series, Eddie.
I thought the Clippers were a better team for a majority of that series, but they just found a way to fuck it up every fourth quarter. And James Harden was terrible in that game seven. I mean,
Yeah.
like I don't know what to say.
Brilliant in game six or whatever.
Yeah, but that's
And
the James Harden way. He's brilliant in game six to get you to
yeah,
game seven, and then he just can't fucking get over that hump. Like James Harden, he's had such a strange career. I think.
not a big fan.
Oh, I've
Never
never
was.
been a big fan, but like the numbers are undeniable. He's like one of the greatest scorers of the generation, you know? And
Eh.
but he just has never been able. I kind of feel for the guy a little bit because it's just like,
I could give a shit about James Harden.
well, look, I mean, like Steve Nash went through it. Like it's just in the big game when you needed it most, like he never won those games that he needed to win to get over the hump to win a championship.
Right.
And there were various reasons why that happened. I don't think he was like a choker like James Harden is, but some guys, Chris Paul, another one, right? Like
Yeah. Oh
now Chris
God.
Paul was
Yeah.
teammates with James Harden for quite a lot of those years. So maybe
Yeah.
that
They kind of rubbed off on each other.
um
They're both losers.
but
I
I
can't
mean like
stand either of
Barkley,
those guys.
right? Like Barkley, Malone and Stockton. It just sometimes like
Yeah.
they just like
But
Malone's
sometimes great players like Barkley, they're just not on a team that will make you a champion.
but there's something deeper with James Harden, which I don't because like Barkley always played his ass off in big game.
Yeah.
Like Malone.
He never played it. He never stopped playing that his ass off.
Exactly. Like Malone's the guy because Malone, you look at his stats, his career, it's like holy shit. Like Karl Malone is like fourth all time in points. The counting
Let's
stats,
see. And he was so brilliant as a Laker.
yeah. But that's the thing about Karl Malone. Like whenever the Jazz needed him most, she shot the bed in big games.
Yep.
Right? He never won the games he had to win, and that's James Harden's legacy. But I thought Kawhi was brilliant in this series. They just got it was an onslaught. They couldn't handle it, and I don't know what to say. I mean, I hate the Clippers.
I hate the Clippers. So I am so glad they lost that series. But I'll give them credit. Like you say, they should have won the series. I thought they were the better team.
I'm going OKC over Denver in 6. I'll give the Nuggets 2 because Jokic
I
Jokic had a
agree.
couple games in that series where I mean he had like 36, 21, and like 15.
I know.
Like that's like two players' stat lines.
I know. I know. I know. But hey, listen. I mean, Shea has been playing brilliantly for
I
OKC.
don't know. I
The
didn't
whole
love the way
team, man.
OKC kind of.
They are so loaded. I
I get
mean,
it. I get it. Look, I get it. But
and defensively, oh my God, they're going to come at Denver in
I know.
waves, pal.
And they got a lot of guys to throw at Jamal.
They're gonna throw a lot of guys, and you're gonna see, like I say, you're gonna see wave after wave after wave. They're gonna be it's an
Yeah, they're going to
onslaught.
wear him down. I agree. I think they're going to wear him down. But I think Jokic is good enough to win too. I really do.
Yep.
And I don't love the way OKC, even though they swept them, like OKC kind of fucked around with that shitty Memphis team, and like I don't know. I like
Yeah, it's kind of like what Boston did to Orlando.
I get it. I get it. I think OKC is going to win the series. I think it's going to. I think I'll give Denver 2, just out of
Yeah,
pure respect for that guy. He's a
I
fucking
agree.
alien.
Yeah, oh, I love Jokic. I think he's
He's one of the
fantastic.
greatest players I've ever seen.
Ever.
Like I think he might be.
One of the greatest, if not the greatest center, and that's saying something.
I mean,
But
he only has one ring, but honestly, it's not all about rings.
no,
I think
it's
he's
dominance.
amazing.
He's been the most dominant center for what, the
A
last 10
decade.
years?
Yeah, a
Yeah,
decade.
10 years. Yeah.
Yeah, the guy is just watching him play, watching how his mind works, the passes that he makes
Oh,
offensively. It's just like
and
he
his
thinks the
shooting,
game.
like his 3-point shooting is just unbelievable.
Well, it's not just that. And then like people act like he's a bad defender. It's like that. Bill Simmons said this, and I thought it was exactly true. Okay, one of the litmus tests about whether or not you actually watch basketball or whether or not you just talk about basketball is when you say that, oh, Jokic is a shitty defender. It's like you clearly are not watching these games. The shit he's doing it's like kind of like it's Draymond-esque a little bit. Like
Yeah.
the intelligence, the understanding, he thinks three seconds ahead of everybody else. And all of a sudden, oh, you think you have a pick and roll open, and boom, Jokic's hand is right there because
Yep.
he's baiting you into it. And like, yeah, he's not the quickest, most agile guy. He can't jump super high, but he just knows where to go and what to do,
Yep.
man. And
Yep.
he's a fucking basketball savant. I
Oh,
don't know what else to say.
he's a genius. Just a genius. He's one of those guys, like very few. Magic, him, Havlicek. I mean, there's been some brilliant players. Tim Duncan, brilliant players that see the game before anybody else.
Jorge
Right?
Garbajosa, gone too soon. I'm telling you, man, if that guy didn't blow out his knee,
Jorge Garbajosa.
he
I
was a
miss that
special
guy. I
player,
know he
man.
was. Oh man, I love that
He
dude.
was a special player.
Yeah,
He had a little bit of that in him. I'm not gonna lie to you.
yeah.
It was a unique I think Manu Ginobili's another one.
Oh, there you go.
For some
I
reason,
hated Manu when he was playing because I mean he was. I
but there was
hated all
something
the Spurs.
different. And
But
I'm not saying
that good dude was always fucking the Lakers up, and because he was so smart.
he just saw the game and played the game in just a different way. He was the way he moved, the way he passed. Like he was just it was yeah, he was a really unique player. And I don't for
And he was
some
an elite defender.
yeah, and way more athletic than he looked. And just like I said, there's nothing aesthetically about their games that are similar, but there's something about Jokic that kind of reminds me of Manu Ginobili a little bit. Just kind of
Mhm.
just like the way he sees the court and the way
Mhm.
he plays the game so unselfishly, and he'll make a pass that you go like, I mean, like every other guy on the court would not think to make that pass in a million years,
Yep.
and Jokic saw it, right?
Yep.
Like
Yep.
anyway,
Yeah. So okay. So let's wrap up.
okay, yeah, let's talk about.
OKC.
The fact that
OKC
we were talking
over.
about Manu Ginobili, that's a great segue because, all right, you wanted to do this. Greg
Oh, yeah.
Popovich retired. I mean, you can have the floor. What do you want to say about Pop? I love Pop too.
Yeah, I was looking at all his career achievements. He was named in on December 10th, '96, to be the coach, taking over from Bob Hill, and the Spurs were 3-15 at the time. The next year, they picked Tim Duncan in the draft. And they started immediately becoming a contender. In '99, 2 years to the day after Duncan was drafted, the Spurs beat New York 78-77 to win the NBA Finals.
78-77. Is that not
Yeah.
a 90s basketball game?
Oh my
Good,
God.
good Lord. What was the score on the Pacers game? It was like 121 to 112 or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
98 to wait, what 88 to 77?
Yes. Yeah. 78
Oh,
to
78.
77. 78 to 77. They won by
Wow.
one. But I mean,
What a rock
it was
fight.
defensive struggle, right?
Anyway,
So,
continue.
oh my God. Then Popovich wins Coach of the Year in 2003. That's when Robinson went into a champion, retired as a champion, and they beat Jersey in six in
Right.
2003.
That was the year when
He won his third title in 2005, beating Detroit 81-74 in Game 7.
so the 03
Remember
one
that
would have
game? Do you
been.
remember that series?
I do, but I want to go back. The 03 one, that was to end the Lakers dynasty because I think Shaq
Yep.
got hurt in the playoffs.
Yeah, you're right.
Or it was the Kobe. No, 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 because the Kobe Colorado stuff was the next year. That was the Pistons year.
Yeah.
I think
That was,
Shaq
that
got
was
hurt.
2004.
Shaq
Yeah.
got hurt in 03 because that was the end of the Lakers dynasty because they
Yeah.
won in 2000, 01, and 02.
Yeah.
And then the Spurs won 03. The
Yeah.
Pistons won 04. And then the Spurs beat the Pistons in 05. And
That's
at that
right.
point, Shaq was on Miami.
That's right. And in that series, I'm going to say, like, I'll never forget that series in the Detroit series
Robert
because,
Ory.
right. And also, the ball, I'll never forget the ball movement. We were so impressed by the ball movement of the Spurs.
Well,
They
no, no, no.
whizzed
Well,
around like,
yeah, but like I think you're thinking more of 2014 against Miami. That was the series
oh, was
where
it?
yeah, yeah. Because
Okay.
you're thinking you're thinking of like that team was like Steven Jackson and fucking all those guys.
Right. Oh, okay. Oh, in 14.
It
Yeah,
was
yeah, yeah, yeah.
14 with Danny Green and young Kawhi. It was
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah, yeah.
second
Okay.
run. And that
Yeah.
was what was so special about Pop. It was anyway, continue.
Yeah. So they beat Detroit in 2007. They beat LeBron and the Cavs.
Yeah, that was
Now,
like a young LeBron Cavs team.
yeah. Then we get to the Miami series. Yeah, they
Right.
won in 5 games.
But hold on. But before that, they had it in 2013. You remember? They fucking
Yes.
blew it because Ray Allen hit a shot to tie the game in Game 6. That crazy famous shot off the offense. Like the Spurs had the title, and
Yep.
then Miami hits that crazy shot to tie it. They win in overtime, and then they end up winning by 4 in Game 7.
Yep.
The Spurs were the better team in 2013. They should have won, and they fucked it up
Yep.
in Game 6. And then
Yep.
they came back the next year in 2014 and absolutely rinsed them.
Rinsed them. Yep. Won in Game 5, 104-87 by
Yeah,
17.
that was the
Uh,
last game LeBron ever played as a Miami Heat.
Yeah. So then in 2017, he got 1,128 games, career number win, passing Jerry Sloan. In 2021, he led the U.S. to a fourth consecutive gold medal in men's basketball, beating
Tokyo.
France in Tokyo. Yeah. In 22, he became the NBA's all-time coaching wins leader, notching 1,336 versus Utah, one more than Don Nelson. That's a huge testament there. And then on November 2, 2024, last November, he had a stroke at the Teams Arena in San Antonio a couple hours before the game. And then this Friday, he just stepped down as coach. What a career, Eddie. I mean,
I gotta say, I do love when you get all you get all feisty and you go and grab some stats for me. I love when you rail those off. That was great. Yeah, you're right, man. It's been 30 years almost of this shit, and the culture that he built there is unmatched.
yep.
I'll say this about Greg Popovich. There were guys at his ceremony. DeJounte Murray was there. He
Right.
plays for the New Orleans Pelicans. Like he's an active player for another team that
Right.
showed up to the Spurs press conference
Right.
because he loves Pop. And that's Pop's legacy.
Yeah.
More so than I think he's the second greatest coach of all time for the record. I think
Mhm.
Phil's number 1 and Pop's number 2. But Phil definitely
In my heart, yes, I would agree with that. Phil,
and then I would put Pat Riley 3. But yeah,
yes, I agree.
Mike Brown is a distant 87th.
along with JB.
Yeah, Sleepy Mike and JB not quite making that list. But no, I mean, but the thing about Phil, because I still think Phil's number one.
Yeah,
Like Phil burned a lot of bridges, man. Phil, like Phil was, he had a complicated relationship with a lot of players,
yeah,
including Michael Jordan, including Scottie Pippen, including Shaq and Kobe. I mean, Phil wrote a whole book about how much he basically hated Kobe, and
yeah.
then like 4 years later, he came back and coached him again, and they won two more championships. But the thing about Pop that I think is different than any other coach is that every single player that he ever crossed paths with, from David Robinson, Avery Johnson, Tim Duncan, Manu Ginobili, Steven Jackson, Danny Green, Tony Parker, who have
Tony Parker.
DeMar DeRozan, LaMarcus Aldridge,
Hmm.
DeJounte Murray, Victor
Hmm.
Wembanyama, and the rest.
Yeah.
Every single player who's ever stepped foot in that facility looks at Greg Popovich like a
Matt
father
Bonner.
figure. Everybody.
Yep.
Matt Connor, great pull. I mean, but the point is, everybody loves Greg Popovich.
Yes.
There's not one player that was like, no, I hated it. I hated Pop. Like everybody loved playing for that guy because he treats you like a son.
Yes.
And the whole organization, it's about something other than basketball.
It's about family, Eddie.
Well, it's about teaching these young
And
men how to be good human beings on and off the
right,
court. And
right.
Greg Popovich embraced that in a way that I think no other organization has ever figured out.
I
And
mean,
and
Greg
that's
Greg Popovich would, I mean, he would invite his players on a wine trip, or like
right. But not
wine
only that,
tasting
like
trip.
Greg Popovich, there's a brilliant story that DeMar DeRozan tells when his father died, and Greg Popovich sat in a room and cried with him for 2 hours. Like that's something that, and that's the thing that I think a lot of people don't understand about basketball. It's the secret of basketball. It's that
Hmm.
it's not about basketball. It's about human relationships. It's
Yep.
about how can I, as a coach, galvanize a group of young men to come together and work together towards a common goal where
Right.
it's not about me or you, it's about the good of the
Us.
team,
Yeah.
right? And like that's a notion I think you and I have always lived by,
Yes,
and Greg
absolutely.
Popovich absolutely understands that secret.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Isaiah
Greg.
Thomas, ironically, is the one who created it, because for those Pistons teams, Isaiah could have been Allen Iverson or Kyrie Irving or whatever great point guard. He could have averaged 30 a night easily,
Yep.
but he knew that if they were going to win around him, he had to make everybody else better, and he
Yep.
sacrificed his own shots to get everybody else involved, and that's why those teams are so great, and that's why
Mhm.
I'll always respect Isaiah Thomas because he understood that it
You're
wasn't
right.
about him
What?
scoring 30.
Yeah, you're right.
It was
And
about him scoring 18 and Joe Dumars getting
everybody.
involved and
Right.
and Dantley getting involved and
Right.
Lambeer getting involved, right?
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
everybody getting a piece so that
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And like
Yep. Hey,
so
no, I 100% agree with you on the thing of understanding the secret of basketball. Isaiah Thomas had it for sure. But the thing about Thomas for me is he's a very complicated guy,
well, I get that.
for
I
two
get that.
reasons.
I
Well,
agree.
I mean, he was a horrible manager of the Raptors,
Yeah,
and also
fair enough. Fair enough. Okay, but like
he owned the Continental Basketball League. He was the owner of the Continental Basketball League,
listen to me.
responsible for a whole bunch of teams, and
Okay,
he burned it to the ground, Eddie.
listen
He
to me.
burned it
I
to the
think I think
ground.
there's a very
He's a
important. I
moron.
get it, but there's a very Isaiah Thomas is complicated, but it's important to distinguish like player Isaiah Thomas and post player Isaiah Thomas because those two individuals
Okay.
were very different stories. Okay, I'm just talking about player Isaiah Thomas, and the point I'm making is not
Player
about Isaiah
Isaiah
Thomas.
Thomas, I love.
And the point I'm making is that this is not about Isaiah Thomas. Is that Greg Popovich is one of those very few special individuals in basketball history that completely understood that it wasn't about one player. It's about one. It's about every player making everybody around them better. And it's about
Yep.
not just being a great basketball player, but being a great person. And I think he
Hmm.
instilled that in his players. And it's sad. It
And
was really
coaches
sad.
too.
It was really sad.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. You look at all the coaches that coached under him. I mean, Ime
Yeah.
Udoka, Steve
Yeah.
Kerr,
Yeah.
Becky Hammond. I mean, I mean, I could go through like on and on. I mean,
Yeah.
he's a fucking genius, man. And would you
Yeah.
go fill one
He was a
top
genius.
two?
He was a genius and just a lovely human being, Eddie. And I was sad, to be honest with you. I love that guy. I think Popovich was, like you say, he's probably my second favorite coach ever.
I will say
And
this. I will say this.
I'm sad.
I'll end with this, which I think you're going to enjoy. I remember as a kid, you absolutely cussing out Greg Popovich for my entire childhood on TV. And I think, honestly, as a basketball fan, that's the highest amount of respect you can give to, a rival
Yeah.
team. Like, you hated those Spurs teams.
I hated them
Yeah, because
because they were so good.
yeah, and they fucking killed the Lakers. And
Yeah, they killed the Lakers.
it's the same, but, at the end of the day, Pop was an amazing competitor. So,
Yeah.
yeah. All right, let's leave it at that, Dad.
I have deep respect for him. Yeah.
Yeah, me too. Me too. As I do for JB Bickerstaff. I mean, that guy. Next time we should do the JB Bickerstaff career.
Okay.
I want you to make some notes and give me his career numbers.
Okay.
All right, let's go. Who's going to win the title?
I will get on that for our next pod. Who's going to win the title?
Yeah,
Oh, fuck, man. I'm still going with OKC over Boston.
going Boston over Minnesota. That's my updated take.
Good luck, pal.